Hey guys, welcome back to episode 12 on the Cinematic Boys Reviews. Today we got Sammy back in the building. How you doing, Sammy? How's your
Good to
week?
see everyone again. I'm doing all right. I'm just been busy. Uh, just had a full weekend working on some different shoots for one of my classes. Watched this, which definitely have a lot to talk about with it. I think it's definitely like an outlier movie. You know what I mean? It kind of sticks out some, but yeah, overall I'm doing all right. It's not been a bad week. Just busy. What about you, man?
It's been good, as you guys hear, because today we are filming the episode. If you guys were listening to the episode, we are filming this episode the same day as this past week's podcast episode when me and Bilal viewed Monkey Man. So it might be a little bit of a repeat, but I'm doing good. A lot of work. Not that much movie watching.
Yeah, I
Just been
feel
really
that.
busy. Um, oh, I asked below. Did you enjoy the eclipse?
Yeah, I did. There was like an events going on, and everyone got glasses. I went with some friends and went and watched it. So, hopefully everyone had a good time. Nobody didn't look at it without glasses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope you guys didn't look up in the sky because you guys would not be watching this right now if you were watching that video.
You're gonna be listening to it on Spotify. So,
True. Wherever you preference, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you guys want to listen
SoundCloud.
to. Sound. I don't even sound okay.
I'm
Your
joking. We're not on
your
SoundCloud.
throwback Thursday days
Yeah,
on
Throwback
SoundCloud.
Thursdays.
Um, but I didn't watch the eclipse though. I'm like, I'm too. I
Damn,
can't.
bro.
Because it was the peak once I got out work. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going straight home.
You should have got glasses or something. Just looked up for a minute, man.
No, because every store in the county sold out.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense. You mean, what are you gonna do? You
Some of
know?
the guys that work, they're like, you want to see him? I'm thinking, I had like 2 minutes before I left. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm thinking, I want to get out of here. I want to go home and relax. I'm like,
No, I got
I've
you.
worked a
Yeah,
9 hour shift. I'm ready to go home.
you can see it in 20 years.
True. So let's get right into it. For our review today, we will be reviewing the first movie in Alex Garland's technically trilogy right now before Civil War releases Friday, which we are doing something a little bit different. We normally start at the beginning, if you guys know, but we're starting with his final movie in this little trilogy, 3 movies that he has made because Bilal don't want to want Bilal don't want to review it and don't want to watch it again. And I don't blame him. He's got a preference for watching certain movies. But me and Sammy watched it, and of course that's today's review. Of course, it is Men by Alex Garland, his third movie in his filmography. This movie came out in 2022, I think May of 2022,
Yeah, yeah, it was a spring release.
because it came out, I think, a week or two after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I remember that.
Yeah, it was it didn't really do super hot in the office, I believe, because it just came out at a weird time where there was
Because
a
it
lot of stuff
came
out.
because it came out the same day as Top Gun Maverick, actually.
I was gonna say, yeah, didn't Top Gun Maverick come out that summer?
Yeah, it came out the same day. It was May 20. Was it 22nd? No,
It was
27th, I
Memorial
think.
Day weekend, I
Yeah, it's
think.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
It was. So everyone was going to see Top Gun because my theater was packed. But of course, this is not a Top Gun review. This is a men review.
Back to the regularly scheduled programming.
So, Sammy, I won't get into it first. Before that, of course, this movie came out in 2022. Like I guys told you, this movie stars Jesse Buckley and what was his name? I'm looking at the copy of my Blu-ray that I got right here. Um, Roy Keener.
Roy Keener?
Yeah,
Who did he play?
he played the guy, the tenant guy.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Jeffrey?
Yeah, he played Jeffrey.
Okay.
Um, mostly it. There's like I think 2 other characters in
Yeah,
this
there's some side characters.
here.
there, I'd say like the priest is a character that's very frequent in the film, and then the Green Man himself.
But there's not a lot of actors in this movie or actresses. The you could tell. I think this was shot during the pandemic because there was not a lot of people in this.
Yeah, it was a very like secluded film, but it made sense for like the setting and what they were going for.
So of course this like I said after sorry guys, we got both of them starring at in it. It's directed of course by Alex Garland. And of course, but before we get right into our thoughts, Sammy, what was your first experience with this movie?
So I went to go watch it with my sister, like around when it came out. I remember it was only playing in Asheville, and I mean, I like Alex Garland. I liked his direction. I thought he was like a decent actor. I hadn't seen a lot of his movies, but I'd seen like I don't know, I'd seen like a little bit of Ex Machina. I've never finished it, which I know I'm a sinner. I'm gonna watch it for these reviews to make up for it.
I haven't
But
seen it yet either, so
okay, bet. So we're in the same boat. Perfect. But yeah, overall, I remember like going to watch it with my sister. It wasn't what we thought it was gonna be. It wasn't like terrible by any means, but we were just very confused. But at the same time, like I don't know, it wasn't a bad experience. It was just not what I expected. So that was at
so
least my initial first time viewing it. It was definitely one of the weirder films I've seen in the theater, though. And it wasn't really full because, like I said, it was just a weird. It came out at a bad time. There wasn't really anyone going to see that.
so is this your first rewatch?
Yeah, yeah, I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters.
So my movie experience with this is so for another A24 horror movie, we I saw X the first time when I went to go rewatch it. I saw it with Austin and Kendall. If you guys don't know, if you guys are new listeners here, Austin's my little brother. Kendall is his fiance, so I went to go see X with him over at Regal because, of course, they've never been to Regal and they kind of wanted to experience it over there and already seen it at our local theater. And I think there was a bear show one time after I got off of work that day, so we had decided to head over there. So, of course, there's the trailers during the movies. When I watched in my hometown, there was no trailer for this. When we watched at Regal, there was a trailer for this. So I saw the trailer. I think that's the first time I saw the trailer because I didn't watch it when it first came out. And of course, I wanted to see it because I was going like to every film, like big film. Especially I was getting to mostly the horror genre at the time
Yeah, no, it's understandable.
because I was already into it a little bit, but I was trying to get more into it, especially with after watching X because that was my first. I think first A24 film and first horror film by A24 because I never watched any other. No way,
Okay,
never
wow,
mind.
yeah,
No, never mind. I watched Uncut Gems. That was the first
yeah,
A24 film I watched.
okay,
So this is X was the first horror film that was by A24 I've ever seen. So I saw this by A24. I'm like, okay, this is a movie that it's not doesn't look bad because they didn't show a lot during the trailer. It piqued my interest, and it piqued both their interest. But of course, by the time it came out, we were busy. Top Gun Maverick came out. We couldn't see it. It was playing at our local theater. I think a week later. I think then Jurassic World Dominion came out. And we saw that. Then it's like a Lightyear. All that stuff came out. So it was like got pushed on the back burner. Never got to see it. But unfortunately, when it came out on Blu-ray, I got it, and I think we popped it in one time, but we got like busy on something else, and we just turned it off real quick. And I wanted to like sit down, fully watched it. So I walked away, but they didn't even fully watch it either. So this is the first time I have watched it.
okay, cool.
So this is the first watch for me. I'm glad it's off my watch list now because especially it'll be 2 years next month since it came out. So
Yeah, which I actually thought
it's
it
been
came out a little later. Like it's been at least a couple years. I didn't think it came out as soon as when I googled it.
so it's been 2 years since I wanted to see this. I finally got to see it because I think without this podcast, I would have never saw this movie at the time. I would have because I didn't know who Alex Garland was. I didn't know all his films that he made. It's just I saw this horror movie by A24. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go see
Yeah,
it. So let's get right. So of course, first time watching. I'm glad I watched it. Um, I think this is the only horror film Alex Garland has made. I think Annihilation might be one, but when I look at the posters and stuff, it reminds me more of action a little
it's
bit.
kind of more of like I think it's like it is a little horror, but it's more sci-fi too.
Is it kind of like the
You know what I
Alien
mean?
movies?
Huh? I
Is it
don't
kind
know.
of like Alien?
I haven't seen
No,
Annihilation.
it kind of reminds me
Uh,
of that though. Kind of like Alien or
yeah,
Aliens.
I guess. Yeah, it kind of gives me like a definitely like a sci-fi like alien vibe.
So let's just get right into it, Sammy. What are your first? Let's do some spoiler free, just to get some quick thoughts. So, what are your quick spoiler free thoughts on this movie?
Men's a movie that's like weird to me because I like the premise is interesting and I like what it tries to do with it, but a lot of it doesn't work because it decides to like abandon it, or to be honest with you, because it's talking about topics not from the perspective of a woman. The movie starts and is very much like a feminist film, and it has a lot of symbolism with like Adam and Eve and the idea of just even existing in the modern age as a woman. And it kind of like it's very surface level at times. Like it tries to say a message, but I feel like it's something that we've like seen before. Or like I said, it doesn't really dive deeper into those themes, and it kind of tends to abandon them later on. It can't decide if it wants to be a feminist film or a fairy tale folklore film, and it doesn't really blend both well together because I feel like it doesn't follow through. It follows through on the folklore front, but not on the feminist front, which is very much what the film's trying to like thematically talk about more. And I felt like it just lacked having that like female perspective to really get deeper into that. But at the same time, I liked a lot of aspects of the movie. I think technically it's a gorgeous film. It's shot very well. The performances are really good. I like how it slowly unravels its story. Like when you think you know the situation 100%, you get a little bit more. Um, I thought it was edited really well. I like that it gets surreal and it's very kind of art housey with it towards the back half of the film. But like I said, it's just very weird to me how inconsistent the film is and how easy it switches up without fulfilling what it's trying to talk about. But I definitely think it's one of those movies that will be looked back on in an interesting way because it just feels like an outlier film for this director's filmography. It doesn't really match a lot of his other movies. There's a lot of things that definitely like stand out in a weird way. Like he has the Green Man, and like talks about like paganism to a certain degree in this film, but it's not very much explained to the audience if you don't know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. I thought it's all right. I just don't like. I feel like for what it starts with, I wish it would follow through with it, and it kind of just doesn't. So that's kind of my initial thoughts. What about you though? How did you feel about it, considering it was your first time?
So this movie's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know what everyone was getting to it. That's really bad. So getting to it, if you guys don't know, A24 horror movies is more elevated. It's a little bit different than your common horror movie. There's more, I would say, politics, religion, that stuff in it. It's a slow burn. It's
It's
not
not
like
as Holly.
it's not
It's not as
it's
Hollywood
not
to be honest.
your
Yeah,
it's not your Scream, it's not your Halloween, it's not your Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's not like say this type of movie, it's not like your Rosemary's Baby and that stuff. Or say Immaculate. It's a movie you gotta think. Because a lot of those movies you don't have to think a little bit. You can turn your brain off, just watch, enjoy it. But this you have to think a little bit of like what is this story going to go into? And the beginning was confusing as hell for me. I'm like, because we go straight into it. I'm like, and you see in the trailer too, and I'm like, what the hell does this mean? I got like a little premise of my in my mind of what this means, but I'm like, what is it? And then it was like I think for the next hour and I would say 25 or hour and 10 minutes, enjoyable. I like where it's going. It's creepy.
It
I
is
have
a
never
creepy
so
movie.
I have never I can stand horror movies and stuff, but I was getting creeped out through this movie.
There's a lot of scenes where like it's very hard to watch or you feel how awful it feels in the film, like watching, like you just get the shivers. Like I meant to also mention that I do think it executes its creepy mysterious vibe very well, and it's strong and sometimes it's subtle. Like there's specifically one character that's like he wears a mask. It's a face mask that like kind of mimics Marilyn Monroe in a way,
Oh, I
I would
never thought of
say.
that.
And it very
Wow.
much like, yeah, he very much is creepy in a sense for being a grown man wearing like a Halloween mask in just a broad daylight versus like other scenes where it's like someone standing naked in a field and you're like, that's fucking like fuck that. That's creepy. Like that's weird. It's just uncomfortable. You don't want to watch that shit.
So not only that, I think what helps this movie with that is the environments in it. It's in I think it's like Ireland or something is like
I
the
want to say it's Ireland. I'm gonna Google just to double check, but I believe it's Ireland.
I don't know, it might be just I'm just getting that from where Jessie Buckley I think is Ireland because even though she's like British in this, like located in London, that you can hear her Irish accent in this movie. I don't know if she was trying to hide it or if she was just letting it
Wait,
loose.
she's from London in the movie?
Yes,
Okay. I kind of
and
missed the part, if I'm being honest with
yeah,
you.
she says she's from London, and I think Jessie Buckley is from Ireland because I thought she was American at first. Let me look that up real
It's
quick.
in England.
Oh, is it England?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Herefordshire. It's uh it's in the West Midlands region of England.
but it's so weird that her character is set in like London and the British UK area, but her Irish accent is just coming out. I don't know if she's trying to hide it or not though, but you can definitely tell that she is
I don't think she's
Irish.
trying to hide it. I definitely think it's one of those things where it's like maybe it's just, European, it's a different location and she just ended up in the UK. You know what I
True.
mean? Or either that or she just
She's
stuck
just
with her
doing.
accent. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I think I like how a lot of the cast is not very like it's a very like a lot of new actors. It's not people that you have typically seen before. Even though it's a smaller cast, because I feel like sometimes with the smaller casted A24 films, they try to do like half or like two or three celebrity people or like mainstream actors, and then the rest are like new actors or like not B movie actors, but like they haven't got to that level where they're like in massive like mainstream movies like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but going back to the creepiness, the environment, like I said before, it gives off where this little like backwoods kind of lone village is. It's like a little I think it's a cottage house it is on the woods right near it. Oh my good it kind of reminds me of like where we are from, like the woods is and the environment, but just the eeriness of it because of course if you guys are from the south or if you guys hear like stories from the south, it's creepy out here sometimes, especially if you're alone by yourself in um say like the town across from us, you know those nature trails up there,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like that sometimes when you're walking up there because it's kind of like has that feeling of it feels like something's staring at you but you don't see nothing, the hell you don't know what's in those woods.
Yeah, it's just dark. It's just darkness.
So besides that, the ending confused the fuck out of me. That's one of the most confusing endings because I thought this character was gonna be something else. And I'm like, what the hell are you? Then it's like it's just confusing. I'm like, but it's like that's what a type of A24 horror is though. But I'm like, I watched some others, but I'm like, this is damn. Like I'm like, do I kind of need rewatches again, see if I missed something. That's
No,
how I
it
felt.
turns into surreal, like a surrealist film to some degree, towards the end, and it gets very like I don't. Am I going to talk about what I feel like it's about, or do you want to do that later?
Do that later. Let's see if we can get anything else out that, from our thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But oh, the music in this matches with it perfectly. I'm like, there's some scenes I'm like, ooh, especially if you got. I'm gonna just say it. It's in the trailer. The scene when she's in the tunnel when she's
Yeah,
echoing on my good grief because I know what's going to happen because it shows in the trailer. I'm like, I'm waiting for that. I'm like, that's when the creepy shit starts. That's no. There's another thing before. I don't know if you noticed it. I'm getting like goosebumps and chills from just thinking about this right now because I was watching that and I'm like, damn. I'm like, I don't know if even. And this is just my first watch. I noticed this crap. I'm like, good grief. I'm like, that starts it. And that next scene, it goes straight into. I'm like, dude, this is just like kicking off with the creepiness. I'm like,
it
it's
sets
like
the
one of those.
tone very fast.
It's one of those movies where you gotta be into horror for a long time to watch it. You can't be a newcomer to horror and watch this movie because one, you're not gonna get it, and two, it might scare the shit out of you so bad that you probably don't want to watch a horror movie ever again.
It's
Because
just
it's not like a like killing, bloody, and gore and stuff. It's like the scary, like a nuanced movie. You
I definitely
you
feel
see what I'm saying,
like
right?
yeah, I definitely feel like it's a very like aesthetically and like how it tackles certain things and like introducing certain like factors into the movie and like characters, it's very creepy. It's very much sets the tone from the very beginning, like kind of what like expect the unexpected. Um and I think that definitely like propels it for the rest of the movie, considering how everything feels like it's very unpredictable, very random, very coincidental almost. Um and I feel like that's definitely intentional to a certain degree.
So, guys, we're going to get into our spoiler part of the review. So, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I would say go watch it. I think it's a watch if you're a if you're a big horror fan, because, like I said, you kind of need to watch this type of movies to see if you like that type of horror. Because there's a lot of A24 movies like that. If you definitely want to dive into the A24 horror, you definitely not gotta know what you're getting into. Like getting into, I think this is the movie to kickstart that because I heard some other like the A24 horror movies is a little bit more, I would say, weird and elevated of what they're doing. Besides like the common slasher movie, kind of like the X trilogy, because I think that's the only slasher movies they have got so far. But like The Witch, The Lighthouse, all those movies, I think probably need to watch this movie first to go before going to those to get like a common feeling.
I just I don't know. For me, this movie's very like it tries to be a lot of things, but it can't decide on what it wants to like stand on. It doesn't know if it want like, and that's something I feel like to like it can't decide if it wants to be a fairy tale like folklore film. It can't decide if it wants to be a surrealist film. It can't decide if it wants to be a feminist film.
Or like even a religious film.
Yeah, like because it very much echoes like paganism and Catholicism and like some of the ideas behind that and how there's male there's male constructs within that are very evident and like affect how she's recovering. I like the premise and like her drama in the movie. I like how we see the dispute from the very beginning and how big of a deal it is, and we slowly get it unraveled up until the end. I'll be honest with you, I forgot the very end of the film until I watched, and I think I get what the idea of like the green. I don't know if you know. Do you know about the Green Man or no?
No.
So the only reason I know about it is because my sister like studied like pagan like folklore and different things like that. It might not be pagan, but I think it's folklore related, and it's like the Green Man is like this like entity that like lives in the forest, and it's represents like a cycle of rebirth. And my interpretation of it was that it was almost like every time towards the end, whenever the being like the Green Man keeps becoming these different men and like rebirthing into a new version of the man. I think it was trying to say that like as men, like we rebirth over and over again, but we continue to be the same. You know what I mean? Like it's the same like patterns and the same like way we go about things and like mannerisms and like because it cycles through all the different men that are shown throughout the movie, and they're like reborn out of this like green spirit, and it's kind of like addressing to the woman that she needs to like be reborn from her trauma. So then at the end of the movie when it's the guy or her husband and she tackles it head on, it's like I can't not address it. That's kind of like the Green Man coming in and being like, "It's your turn. Like you have to get through this cycle." But like it does it in such a like that's just how I viewed it at least. But I thought it was like really it's and that's with like sitting and watching it like another time, and even then that's just interpretation. That could be complete bullshit from what Alex was intending. Um But it's just I don't know, it's a very strange, like, sequence that just kinda derails the rest of the movie, and I don't think necessarily in a bad way, it's just kinda weird that it takes over everything at the end for me.
So for me, I'm just thinking about this right now. Like, I like your point because it sounds a little bit like that. But I think what also it goes through is for us, like as us men, as us guys, of course, we don't give birth. We we're just there. I think it also shows. I don't know if he's trying to do this also, and you can like elaborate on this if you want to, because it shows like I think what a guy. I've not only trauma, but I think because that ending, you could see a guy going through a pain of giving birth because of course that's the worst scene though of him giving birth over and
It's
over and
so
over.
weird.
And
It's
you and because
so weird.
when we as guys, because of course we are not married yet and we don't have girlfriends or anything as far as I know. Um but we haven't been through that. We haven't seen a female go through that.
I mean, I've had, like, family members,
You know,
like,
like family
well
members, but like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
but,
think
like
it's different if you're married
no, it is
because
yeah,
because a
yeah.
lot of times you're in the delivery room, like the dad of the child's in the delivery room, so they see what the mother's going to go through. So I'm thinking he's also trying to show us not only the rebirthing, but I think because kind of like what you're saying, I think he is the person over this. He's trying to because of course he's a guy. He's trying to show us guys. I think how it is like for women to give birth and what it does to them because you see on the guy's face like he's in pain when he's doing it. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, because it's like it's childbirth, like, it's
Is
gonna be painful.
because that's why because that's the part when I said I was confused at the end because I'm like, what is the point of this? Because it feel like you said, you don't like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a folklore? Does it want to be a religious? Does it want to be a horror movie? No, it is a horror movie, but like just a stalker type. A little, what I'm saying, kind of.
It's definitely more, yeah, it's definitely more like, for me, it wasn't really scary. It was just eerie. I mean, it was just a lot of like unexpected like moments, and there's also just a lot of scenes towards the end where it tries to be like poetic, and I'm just kind of like, y'all have
or
gone
or like get kind of
too
like
surreal to
Shakespeare.
do that. I don't even want to say that. I just like, it feels like they're really trying to like make something out of the last few lines of the movie, and I'm just kind of like, y'all have showed so much crazy shit that like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just, some of the movie just doesn't work for me, but then some of it like really does. And like I said, I think it's just a well made movie, but it's just kind of all over the place.
Like for me, like the very beginning, what I don't like about the beginning is one, we don't get the context of why the husband kills himself.
Yeah, we do.
Like you kind no, you kind of know. You like get later on in the movie. You don't get it right there though, and
No, but
you
that's the
get
point. Like, it's like stick around. You have to keep
it's you
seeing.
kind of know though because you see she has a bloody nose, so you kind of think it's like, is it domestic violence?
Yeah, but
Because
it's like it's making you ask the question though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what happened here?
and my biggest thing, it's just a little nitpick. She goes to the house, right? Um, what's the guy's name? Who's the tenant?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey said, "Oh yeah, this house like 56 years old. Why is the rooms in the house like the kitchen looks like a modern day kitchen?
Oh, it's probably just remodeled. Like, the house is 500 years old, but like that doesn't mean the kitchen's still like,
Not only that, but like
you
the
know what I'm
place where
saying?
she's like does her work, it looks like a natural greenhouse. I'm like, it just seemed weird to me because I don't know if that's because like a lot of like places that are like a lot of years older in America, they don't look like that. So I don't know if that's a UK thing.
Yeah, and I don't really know either, to be honest with you. I feel like a lot of I feel like though with the location of it's so interesting of a location that I wish the house played more of a role in the movie. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
in the town
yeah, I feel like there's certain things that are introduced that you think are going to be utilized more and they really aren't. And I'd
because
argue that there's time to utilize them. They just choose not to.
because
And so it's just awkward.
the main three places we get in this movie is the house, the town for a little while, and the woods. But it seems like we mostly get the house in the woods, and they really put the preference on the village. I'm like,
Or like the
why?
people, you know what I mean? Like, it's more
Yeah,
focused on the character than the location. But I feel like the location is a big reason for why the Green Man even exists and why he's there. Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's weird that they introduced this like folklore figure without context, because a lot of people just don't know that. You know what I mean? Or like,
yeah.
I would have taken like a line of dialogue at the bar where someone mentions the tale and they're laughing about it. And then it's like, oh, that's what that's supposed to be. Or like you hear a song of somebody singing it. You know what I mean? Like, just something subtle to be like, hey, here's context to why you're seeing this man with leaves on him. You know what I mean? Like, because when I was sitting there watching the first time, I was like, how do this is wild, man.
That's what I
And
thought
then
too. I'm
my
like,
sister,
why is this dude strapping leaves onto him? I'm like,
and it was, yeah, it was like, what the fuck? And but then my sister was like, no, that's a figure, and this is what it's. And I was like, I looked it up after, and I was like, yeah, that is what it is. Like, that's okay. But I wouldn't have known that without looking up context. And I feel like as a film, that's kind of a, there's certain things for sure that they expect you to have context for, but there's certain things it's like you gotta kind of talk about it at least a little bit. You know what I mean? So everyone's like at least somewhat on the same page.
so let's get right into the creepiness for me where it started. I want to know if you, I want to tell you guys this. I want to know if you noticed this. when she's first gets settled in, right? And when her I think it's her sister calls her or her
Yeah, I think it's
friend,
either a sister or a friend. Yeah, one of the
um,
two.
and they're talking the first time. Did you look at the windows behind her?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
guy,
that
I
yeah.
saw that. Like, oh,
I
that
remember seeing that in
started
the
it.
theater, and we were like, "Ooh, ooh," and
Oh,
that's what
like
like it's
I'm
subtle.
getting
Like I like how
goosebumps right
it's
now
subtle
talking about it. It's that creepy.
because it's like you
It goes
it's
straight
just
off
so
into it.
bad. Yeah. And it's something that like sadly does happen and has happened and it's just really uncomfortable and you're
Perfect
like,
example,
"Oh
like the
my
strangers.
god." Huh?
Like the strangers. That's a perfect example. Wow, I thought.
Yeah. But I mean even in real life too. I mean there's people that are freaks and weirdos or
Yeah,
streakers and it's like, "Oh god." Like that's nobody wants to see that shit,
especially
especially in
like
their
when I
yard.
was saying like for us, we're in the woods half the time, or like the trails. You don't know who's looking at you. It's like in these backwoods, like a lot of these houses, you don't know who's gonna be in those woods. You don't know who's gonna be looking at you at all times in the dark during the daytime because you're just living your daily life and you're not gonna be worried. Oh yeah, is someone gonna be looking at me? You're just focused on you, and I think that's the point. And the second creepy thing is that tunnel. It's in the trailer, but when you see it's the scream though. The scream got to me.
For me, it was like the subtle like movement at the very end of the tunnel, and you're like, "Oh no, that's a person." Like that's
So at first, before you told me about the folklore, I thought we were going in a little bit different direction because I thought we were going to another folklore, except like paganism on there. I thought we were going to go to like some Indian folklore.
oh no no no. That's what I
So
meant more specifically. Like that was at least what my sister was telling me about, and then I did my research on it after, and like the figure, and then the movie, of course, has the birth sequence, and you're like, okay, yeah,
before
this is
figuring
him.
like just starting it though, because I hear the scream, I hear this guy walking, and she goes on later, and you keep on hearing the scream, and you just see this naked ass man standing. And all I thought is, I don't want to say their name out loud because it's a part of the little theme. I thought they were flesh walkers.
Yeah, I thought they weren't human. It was
I thought
very
that
in
was it because the scream, and they're in the woods, and he's just standing there. And
but I
of
think
course,
when he
like in the
realized he's human,
lore,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
you're good. And of course, like in the Indian lore, like they change shape. So I'm like, because of course it kind of looked like the dude had a coat on, like because that's what I thought, especially during the whole movie where he was changing like to different things. I'm like,
Yeah.
are we really going into this? I'm like, wow. I'm like, this was never marketed like this because before we figure out what the true ending is, I'm like, they really got us with this one. I'm
No,
like,
yeah, it's definitely like a lot more left field than it was marketed to be.
especially
But
like
I
us
can definitely see why you thought it was that folklore. That does seem like it's very much in that same like field of like what it's talking about and like what they show with the birth sequence.
because especially with us like living in the South, we hear about those stories all the time about these creatures, and I'm like, especially being into a big like folklore like spirit type of person, like ghost folklore and that stuff. I'm like, that really got to me. I'm like, but it's like it's cool to hear what your sister found out also.
Yeah. And also I just before we continue, guys, please be careful in the woods.
Yes.
Ghouls, there's this it's the season, it's that time of year when the ghouls come out and they start haunting areas more. So if everyone could please
What the heck is
take
a ghoul?
time, a ghoul, you know a ghoul, everyone knows a ghoul. Listen, take your time to be safe, carry a flashlight and carry a weapon with you that works.
Wait, hold up. Before we get back into, if you come across Bigfoot with a flashlight, you're not gonna make it out alive, my guy.
That's how I'm talking about the ghouls. It's ghoul season and everyone's got to be safe
What
and
is
careful.
ghouls? I was going to say, but you
everyone
got to
knows
elaborate to it. Me and
everyone knows
everyone.
what a ghoul is, man.
No,
Like,
I
you
do
know,
not.
like ghouls, like ghosts and ghouls, man. And like you just gotta be careful
I
of
think
that
you're in the wrong
paranormal
season,
energy
Sammy.
that takes over your head.
You're in the wrong season, Sammy. We're in
It's
April. We're not in October.
I'm telling you, it's ghoul season. They come out in the spring when it's hotter weather. So everyone make sure to be safe and wear
Make
your
sure to
wear
make sure
ghoul
to be safe.
repellent.
Make sure to be safe no matter what, because hell, there's killers and serial killers in the woods also. So, especially in the Appalachian Mountains, there's some shit up there that nobody needs to know about.
Yeah, like the wild parakeet.
But bro,
Do you not remember those series of murders from the wild
no,
parakeet?
what's
Yeah,
that?
dude. He
There's a
dragged
guy called
8
that.
bodies to the woods
There's a
and he
guy
was
called that.
covered in bird feathers.
To be honest with you,
This is bullshit. I made all that up.
first of all, that's great. You probably got me and half of the people with that. But speaking of that, before you figure out who this guy is, perfect example of what we could go back into, like a leeway back into our review. You don't know if this guy's a killer that's going to be running after her. He's just a crazy ass dude running through the woods.
But I think I like that mystery because it's kind of like that is like I will say it does like even though it does tackle some surface like it's surface level and how it tackles certain topics within like feminism and like the female gaze, I feel like it still does a good job in certain situations of showing that uncomfortability and showing how certain situations are just awkward and like they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Or it's just like the way that society's structured makes it awkward.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to get into?
I'll be honest, not really. I feel like this is a movie that's like if I watched it again, it would be because I go over to someone's house and they have it on. Like it's not really a movie that like I just feel like there's better like feminist film. I feel like there's better surreal film. It's not a terrible movie by any means. It's made very well. And I also personally think the editing is phenomenal in the movie. Um they do a really good job with that. And I don't know, if you like Alex Garland's style, you're gonna love at least the direction of the movie. You know what I mean? It's worth watching. The acting's good. It's just a
Oh,
weird
wait.
movie, and I feel like it just doesn't hit the same.
Before I thought, so I forgot about what's your pros?
Oh, my pros? Oh, like I
Yeah.
said, man, like I thought technically it was a powerhouse. It was a really solid looking movie. The editing was really good. The sound design was really good. I like how it doesn't overscore the movie. It knows when to be quiet and it knows when to have music come in. Um, I kind of hate when a movie feels like it's forcing music every scene. Like, yeah, I really like that it took time to just be quiet. Um, I like, and like I said, I think a big pro is definitely like the performance and the way like some of the stories delivered. I just the follow through was more it was interesting. It just changed up from there. But like how they intro like the argument at the beginning and how they kind of slowly build out to showing you how that event goes down and why it went down and all all the things about it. Um like it's a massive positive. So I don't know. It's definitely like a movie. It's that's the best way for me to describe it. It's a movie for me. You know. What about you, pro wise?
So, me, the pros is the eeriness of this. I love the eeriness of this. Just the way this movie is. Oh, let me play more like cinephile terms for my cinephiles. It has a good um nuance. There we go. Um, it traps you right into it, and you feel it. Like I'm still getting like I've been saying this all podcast. I'm still getting goosebumps just thinking about these things,
Like I'm
and that
shaking.
and I really do got goosebumps. So like this shit, like I can stand this shit, but this shit creeps me out.
Yeah, it was a creepy movie, man.
Um, but besides that, the score, like you said, perfect. There's perfect things. Like it does a movie just right. It gives you it's like the woods. Like perfect example with this when she's in the tunnel that score of her just like not only the score but her like doing the little notes and stuff through the tunnel. Perfect. But like once she's running away from the scene and it's silent and you hear the rain and it's screaming, that's what it helps the eeriness, the creepiness. And especially I think in like when it's dark and it's like outside and you see the people because of course just real quick spoiler for you guys, of course we're in the spoiler section. Each person is literally the same damn guy in the town. Besides the female cop, so I don't like. First of all, I don't even know where she goes because we see her one time and then we never see her again.
Yeah, which I would have liked to have seen. I don't know. I feel like it would have been. I get it's a personal story and it's focused on her. I would have liked a little more like reaction from an outsider's perspective, at least from like the female cop or the friend. Like I thought it would have been interesting if the friend pulled up at night during the situation.
I thought that
Um,
too. I'm like,
like the ending's kind of weird, but like I have to say I get it because it's very personal to her. It's not about anybody else. It's about her. And it's
true,
about her going through her trauma. But it's just one of those things where eh, I think it's the horror movie in me more than like what they were doing. Like the horror movie in me is like I would have loved like seeing the cop come back. You know what I mean? Like not
yeah,
the male cop, the female cop.
because of course Mel Cop's literally one of the guys. He just takes different forms.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like a mind trick because of course he like reproduces himself over and over, but it's like it's one person. So I'm like wondering when these other people pop up, is it just like the dude playing mind tricks on Jesse
Yeah, like
Buckley's
that's
character?
definitely a good point to bring up considering like you could make the argument that there's not a lot of scenes where they're all in one room, but like the bar, for example, like
Yeah.
there's a scene where the guy chases her and it's the guy at the bar. It's like, okay, well that guy and Jeffrey was there. Or like the church scene where it's the Catholic priest and the guy, like they're
The little
both
boy.
there.
I think he's a
Yeah.
little boy, but
He's a
it's so
grown man,
creepy.
dude. Yeah, he's like
It's so
35.
I no, I think
He's
it's a
like
little
30
boy, but the
something.
problem it's where Roy Keener is playing him, it seems so creepy because I think Roy Keener could probably be in his 50s or 60s in real life, and it's just weird because you can see they de-aged him for that role.
It's just so weird. I hated him. I'm gonna be honest.
Especially
I
he's like,
hated it was so
what did he say?
creepy.
"You stupid bitch." I'm like, "Good God, this kid." I'm
But
like,
like that's a realistic thing. That's a
"Oh,
male
the other
thing that
creepiness
happens where like people do that and they throw their aggression out on women for no reason.
is the phone." When the dude's face would pop up on the phone every
Yes,
once in a
yes,
while.
I liked that glitch effect because I was very like I don't know. I like when I see glitch in film, especially
Or
like
when
it's
he
usually experimental, not narrative. So it was cool to see that.
or when she sends the location and he's like, "I
Yeah.
know where you are, you stupid bitch." I'm
Like,
like,
he
"Good
hijacks
call."
the phone. Yeah, like, I kinda like that they don't explain that stuff either. Like, it's very much, like, into her personal space so much that, like, it hijacks her phone, but, like, we don't know how, and that's okay. I don't wanna know, you know?
Yeah. So, I think that's about okay, before that, I think I like the acting. So my last pros, I like the acting. The acting
Yeah.
was really good. But let's get into our cons real quick because I got 2 at least. Do you have any cons for this?
I mean, like I said earlier, I just think it's a mess, like, it's all over the place, and it doesn't really know what it wants to be. That's kinda like my major cons with the film. Like, outside of that, I think it's interesting at least, you know what I mean? And it definitely tries to do something and tackles something in a weird it tackles, like, feminist ideas in a really weird way, but, like, I don't know, it just kinda becomes its own weird little folklore thing, and it's interesting, but it's very much like a it either you like it or you don't, and I'm kind of I don't wanna say I don't like it, I just I don't like aspects of it. I like what it talks about, I just don't like aspects of it, you know?
So for me, I think it's only back to it. I think I just want to refer to one con. It's the script. The beginning when they first meet each other at the little house, the little cottage. That was so painful to get through
Like it was just
because
like you just were bored or like
yes, it was boring, especially the jokes he was trying to do.
it's just slow
Like
burn,
like
man.
I'm like these jokes aren't funny. I'm
But
like
that's
it's
the
I don't know
point.
if it's
Yeah,
like
they're not
dad
supposed to
jokes
be.
or if it's just the. But I'm like, I don't know if he was trying to make the audience laugh, but I'm like, I'm not laughing. I'm like, these sound like it's embarrassing.
Like the 10 minutes turn to 30 minutes walk.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't really have to show this whole damn house. I'm like, we
No, but
know
like
most of it,
that's what I'm saying. Like they show you the whole house, like you're gonna be like the house is really important,
and the house is not.
but the house is not important at all.
The
And
only thing
that's kind
that's
of why I don't get the point of the house. Like it's just kind of like why have all of this and not utilize it for the
the only
script.
three areas of the house I think for me is where she works, like the living room area, the bathroom because of the scene of where her and the guys up there talking, and that damn front door.
Yeah, they love the front door.
But I think that's about it for me for man. Is it for you for our
Yeah,
review?
I'm ready to rank it. I mean, I'm pretty much I feel like I've
So
said my piece on it.
let's get into our normal routine stuff. Um, predict the Rotten Tomato score for this.
I'm gonna say I think critics gave it a little more than people. I remember people did not like it. Like audience goers did not like it. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably like 70s, like low 70s. And then I'm gonna say like 30-40%, somewhere in that range for like audience member,
Say that again for
like
both.
30s, 40% for audience, and like 70s for like low 70s for critic.
So critic is 69,
Okay. Okay.
and then audience is 40.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it wants to appeal to a lot of demographics, but it's not super like I don't even want to say like it is experimental, but it's not like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's one of those movies that I feel like I'll never fully understand. And that's okay. I'm content with that. You know what I mean?
So let's go into our little next guessing thing. Guess the box office for this.
I'm gonna say like 65, 70 million.
11.2 million.
Like total?
Yeah.
How much did the movie cost?
I don't know. You also got to think this is A24. This is
No,
not.
yeah, but I mean it's Alex Garland, so at this point he was pulling at least a decent budget. Here, wait. Box office.
If it's true, 6.5 million.
I mean,
And
so
then,
it technically turned a profit. Yeah, I mean, like it did its job. You know, he'll definitely make more with Civil War, though. I think.
but
I
you
think
also got
like
to think Civil War is the highest budget A24 movie there is.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like they've been really marketing the fuck out of it. Versus like Men was kind of heavy marketed for like a month. Like I feel like I've seen Civil War marketing for like the last few months easy.
So, was oh yeah, Oscars. I don't think it got any, but
I
of
don't think
course
it
we can
was
see.
nominated for anything.
Nah, no.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
I looked up men Oscars. You know what pops up for me? Best dressed men from Oscars. I'm like,
It's just a list of celebrities on like People magazine.
mhm. Yeah, I don't see anything. I could think of anything. It's a lot of yeah. There's only one, but I think it's the Golden something horror movie awards. I think it just got a nominee for a Roy Keener.
Okay, that's cool.
But I think that's about it. So let's get right into it. Sammy, what's your rating for me?
I'll be honest, I'll give it like 2.5. Like I don't want to say it's bad. It's just not like a movie I ever like want to watch or revisit or even show to someone to like say, hey, this message is super like this message is super like impactful. And it's not to say that it's not trying to be. It just doesn't hit in the degree that it wants to or that it says it is. I just feel like it could go deeper into it.
So for me, I think I could go 3.5 out of
You're
5.
always generous.
But for me, the nitpick is the ending.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's the ending and the beginning of the script because you literally get 75% of this movie that's really good. And besides that, the other stuff is like, ugh.
That's what yeah, it just kind of takes you out of the movie. Like it's just like I'm just watching this now. Like I'm trying, but
So that's it for the men review. So but before then, Sammy came to me and he told me a little something that I think will help you guys out if you guys want to watch men. So he has came to me and he's like, Dakota, let's tell the people where they can watch this movie. I'm like, Sammy, you the genius.
nah, man. I just want everyone to be able to see where they can go watch something, man.
Oh, me and Bilal, you sent
You
that
know?
text, and me and Bilal was like, because we were doing our podcast earlier, and he's like, that is a good idea. I'm
Because I
like,
feel like I'm
yeah,
always having to Google like what streaming service and movies on if
true.
I don't own it on DVD. You know what I mean? So it's like if we're already talking about it, we might as well tell people. And yeah, go ahead and tell them what platform it's on.
So if for free, it's on, I think, Plex.
Yeah, Plex.
Subscription is Showtime, prime time subscription on YouTube, and the subscription on Hulu, um,
That might
Amazon
be the
Prime,
Showtime through the Hulu.
that, and then Amazon Prime, which I think that could probably be also through the Showtime. But besides that, you can rent it on your Voodoo, which is not called Voodoo anymore. Fandango at home, Apple.
Is that what they call it now?
Yeah,
I don't like that. I like Voodoo better. That's
and Google Play. But you can also, if you guys like collecting physical media, you can also buy this at Walmart, Target, Amazon, wherever you get your places. Well, fortunately, when they were still selling physical media, I pre-ordered my copy from Best Buy when it first came out. So I've been having this ever since it came out.
which that's a hard cover, I gotta say. The posters for the
Yes,
movie were really good
it's
too.
creepy. It's creepy as heck. It's just literally him smiling. It's a perfect example. Like you don't know what this movie is about when you look at this poster.
Yeah, it's just like
I
okay,
think
this is weird.
that's the best thing I think A24 has done is the posters because this X Pearl right now like Civil War. You don't know
You
what
don't
Civil
really
War is
have
going
an
to be about
idea. Yeah, you really don't have a lot of ideas for a lot of their like promotional stuff.
because when
It's very
Civil
hidden.
because like when the poster for Civil War came out this past I think it was November or October and it said it's literally said from Alex Garland, director of I think it's still he Ex Machina and Annihilation, because I don't think they don't want to promote men
Yeah,
on
and
it.
like I said, it just feels it's an outlier film. Like it's not one that like everyone's gonna be like, hey, this is like I feel like if somebody told me about Alex Garland movies, the first movie they're gonna talk about is not Men. But it's not like they're not gonna talk about it. You
I
know what I
think a
mean?
lot of people we will talk about it next week, but I think a lot of people say Ex Machina.
Yeah, I'd say Ex Machina. Like, there's definitely like an Annihilation like fandom. You know what I mean?
To be honest with you, after the way Civil War's looking, might be Civil War.
No, I think a lot of people are gonna go watch it too. I think it's one of those things that like once if people like it as much as critics like it, then I think a lot of people will go see it.
I think there's a lot of things that are going to this Civil War But before we get into the Civil War thing, um, I think that's mostly it for men, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about next week's episode.
So right into it. So next week's so for our future episodes, so for the Cinematic Boys podcast for episode 14, I believe it will be, we'll be doing our review for Civil War. So let's get back into a little bit of Civil War before we go into our next week's review podcast episode. So I think it's helping Civil War is one is Alex Garland. Two, this is a political movie and a political election year also.
So yeah, it definitely was released with that intention too. I think it also helps that the movie has very positive reception going into it from like where
It's a
internet
92 on
spots
Rotten
like
Tomatoes right now.
yeah, and like people that saw it at festivals enjoyed the movie and felt like it wasn't like glorifying the end of the like America. You know what I mean? It was very much like this is a film that was made with intention and it has something to say.
The two
Um
biggest things I think that has came out. Oh no, do you have anything else
no, no,
besides
no, you're good. You're good.
the two biggest things I hear come from Civil War is the story and where it goes, and then Kayla Spaney,
Yeah, everyone says she's amazing.
which with her track record right now these past couple of months, she might be the big next actress that we got coming up in Hollywood.
Yeah, I can see it definitely.
Priscilla,
Oh
this
my god. I'm so sorry. That came out of
you could.
nowhere. Oh
Then you
my
got
god.
her with Alien Romulus also,
Yeah, which that's going to be a cool release. I'm excited for
because I
that.
think she's supposed to be technically like the no, it's not Rhea Ripley. I'm going to
She's
WWE
like the
right
new
now.
main like protagonist, yeah.
Yeah, like Ripley. That's what she's supposed to be. But of course we're gonna be doing Civil War for our review for the Cinematic Boys podcast. We'll also be going over the CinemaCon stuff, which Warner Brothers just got done yesterday with their whole entire slate, which the slate looks nice. Just released the Joker 2 for the new trailer. I can't wait to react to that. Of course, put it up on my social media. So, guys, I will be up on my TikTok and YouTube. Just look up DNB reviews. It will show you guys my pages, so you guys can go check those out. Which, Sammy, that should be your first TikTok, my guy.
Which one? The
Talk about Joker 2.
Joker 2? Honestly, that might be the move. Or at
See,
least like a Joker 2 reference.
dude, if I teach you, you should do a trailer reaction.
I'd be down. I'd be down to look into it, man.
So that's mostly for the our podcast episode for next week. For our review episode for next week, Bilal will be back. Bilal makes his grand return to the Cinematic
Let's
Voice reviews.
go.
You
Bilal has been missed.
because technically it is the 10th. Yesterday was Bilal's last day for Ramadan, so he's back in full schedule now.
Which hopefully went well.
I think he actually did. I think he said it went well.
That's what's up.
Sorry about that, but with Bilal being back, we will review Alex Garland's first film, his filmography, Ex Machina, which is another A24 film. Good, really good cast. Who's the main actress in this? It's Alexandra. She played
I'm
Tomb Raider.
blanking. I'm blanking.
Starts with the last name V. You guys will know who I'm talking about after I said the new Tomb Raider. Um, and also Oscar Isaac.
Yes, Oscar Isaac's in it. Here, wait, I got you on her name. Yeah, Alicia Vikander
Yeah,
or Vikander.
yeah,
I
Vikander.
might be butchering that last name, but
It's Vikander. Once you said
Vikander.
Vikander,
Okay,
my southern really came out right there. Vikander.
Vikander.
Um, her Oscar Isaac, the guy who's playing the protagonist in this, he's a well-known actor also. Um, so me, Sammy, and Bilal will be getting the trio back for that because the last time you guys saw us was the Doom Part One review, which that was back in March.
March. Yeah,
That
it's
was Sammy's
crazy.
first ever episode on here.
And look at where we are now. The
He's
double
been without.
digits. Wait, it's this side. I'm gonna get used to the camera. It's double digits.
So, guys, of course, that will be episode 13 of Cinemac Boys Review Ex Machina with the trio back together again. So, guys, when you guys hear me next time, it will be on episode 14 of the Cinemac Boys podcast. With also with Bilal being done with Ramadan, we will go back to the podcast episodes being recorded on Saturdays and being uploaded to you guys on Mondays. So we go back to a normal schedule. Of course, these have been on normal schedule where it's just been me and Sammy. So guys, when you hear me next time, it will be on Monday for our Civil War review. And when you hear Sammy next time, it will be for next Friday for our review for Ex Machina. So guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day and great week. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, and stay sexy, guys.